want to wish you a happy new year. It's almost 2018. It's right around the corner, just a couple of days now. I want to give you a kind of a 2017 wrap up and just let you know, those of you who are interested, of course, what my year was like and what I'm looking forward to in 2018. First of all, I would like to let you know that my book, Oh Lord, Increase My Faith, Building Focused, Forceful Faith That Overcomes, is available now. You can purchase that by going to supernaturalubooks.info. That book will bless you if you are ready for it. It's one of those things where I tried to put it out in 2016, but it wasn't the right time. Put it out in 2017. It was absolutely the right time. Just everything that's involved in that book was necessary for the end of 2017 and moving into 2018. So it's going to be a great one. Also, I am hosting a deliverance workshop, Breaking Generational Curses is what it's called, starting in January, and we'll be working through February and March. It's going to be very involved. It's not one of those deliverance things where you go for like 2 days and you're getting some deliverance, or a mass deliverance prayer or anything like that only works for, that 20% or less of people. I will actually want to get up close and personal with, a core group of people who really want to get delivered, looking at generational lines all the way back up through the current days so that they can walk in freedom, but also so that their future generations and their children can walk in greater freedom than they walked in. And then also I have a couple of other things going on for 2018, a conference in October, and you have a couple days that you can still register for investigating personal prophecies. And I'll talk to you a little bit as I'm giving you my wrap up of 2017 about how those things came about, because that, will give you some understanding of what those courses and offerings, why they matter and what they're about. So at the end of every year for the last 4 years, the last 2 months, all of November and all of December, I've prayed every day consistently with prayer partners, just focusing on some things and getting prepared for the next calendar year and stuff like that. And this year's prayer, I've been going through deep deliverance, like real deliverance, not just renunciations and not just saying, prayers that everybody has said in the past, but actually getting before Holy Spirit and saying, what specifically happened in my bloodline? What is the actual event that opened the door, allowed the enemy to sign this contract with my generations forever that I've been suffering under? And so I've been going through that process, and it is so hard, so painful, so difficult. This is why a lot of people don't go through deliverance, I know, because, like that little bit of what people go through when they're in a group setting and demons are flying out and they're manifesting and stuff like that, that doesn't even compare to this deep stuff that I've been going through. That little bit of stuff is like, well, it's almost like, what's the purpose of that? Just having the demon come off of you, that's just the beginning. That doesn't even get into the legal work of what the enemy is using against you. And that's the stuff that matters, because the way the Lord set up the universe, and I talk about this, well, it depends on how long you've been with me and how long you've been listening to me, but back in 2016, when I first started the first cohort of ZM7 Supernatural Academy, I was reading in something, I don't even know how it got started, but the Lord was taking me through Isaiah 55:10-11, where it says his word doesn't return void and stuff like that. And we were learning about Genesis 1 and the word Elohim that's used to describe the Lord, that redemptive name of who he is, that he is the supreme ruler and lawgiver and creator God. And so when he created the world and the universe and all this stuff, he put in this legal framework that exists in the unseen realm. And, this is stuff that we hear about all the time, but we don't actually understand it. I've heard about this stuff and I've had little understanding of it, but I have greater understanding of it now. So the Lord, being the supreme ruler and lawgiver and creator God, when he created the universe, when he spoke it, he put these legal constructs into existence in the unseen realm. And when we are following his laws and obeying, these natural laws and his commandments and things like that, we are, we have legal protection being citizens of God, and just, being people who obey his word, because, there are people who don't believe in him, don't believe in the Messiah, who actually believe in the Torah, or they believe in, some form of the Ten Commandments or something. They honor those things, and so they have protections that come with it. But anytime there's somebody who breaks those laws, those natural laws that God put in place, it doesn't matter how you want to look at it and say we're under grace or whatever. You break a natural law that the Lord set in place when he created this universe. You have just come into covenant with the demonic. They've written a contract, and they are using that contract to what my mentor calls tax you from here on out, through the generations. And so the Lord has been unfolding all of that stuff for me and showing me things. And, I've been learning about how the enemy, because, Daniel says that they like to disrupt and hijack our times and seasons and stuff like that. And the Lord has shown me how the enemy has come in and stolen, times in my life and stuff like that. So here's a perfect example. When I finished undergraduate school, I was applied and getting ready to go to law school. And then that's when I got pregnant with Zane. And so I switched my graduate studies from law to education so that I could be on a schedule that was conducive to raising a child, right? So all of this time, law school only takes 3 years, 4 years if you're doing it part-time or whatever. And all these years that have gone through my life, I could have been doing that, but thinking that I didn't have time when I could have. But that was just, demonic theft of my time. Having me go through doing all kinds of different things when that's something that I was originally supposed to do. That's something that the Lord had called me to do, but I allowed the enemy to hijack that season of my life and make me think I didn't have time for it, which, looking back over my life, I have had time for it. That's something that I would have had time to do. So that's just one example. And that's not the full scope of the understanding. So you're just getting bits and pieces. Like, I'm not relating the entire conversation that I had with the Lord about that situation. So you may not have full understanding, but that's just an example of the things that the Lord is showing me that the enemy has done in our lives. So that's something that you should consider. There are always people out there who say, well, I don't have enough this, I don't have enough that, I don't have enough this, and this is why I can't do that. Okay, well, did you ever stop to think that it's possible that the demonic is putting up all kinds of blocks in your life so that you can't do something that you've been called to do? And now you have this mindset because of what they've told you that you can't because you don't have or because of something else. So it's been a really exciting season, but it's also kind of been, bittersweet. Like, I'm getting this deliverance and understanding and revelation and stuff. But on the other hand, I'm like, I have allowed the enemy to, ravage my life for decades when I should not have. I should have been more proactive, and I should have been more aggressive, and I should have been an actual kingdom representative and taken the battle to the enemy. And a lot of times, like another thing that the Lord had to show me was that a lot of times we think we only take the battlefield to the enemy, with spiritual things, but that's not always the case. The Lord created a lot of this natural stuff, and we are supposed to dominate in it and take the battle to the enemy with natural resources, natural things, as well as in prayer. The prayer is the foundation, but we still have to be doing things naturally that takes the battle to the enemy. And this is something so interesting. Perfect example of this happening right now. People have been praying for the United States and praying for the United States for decades. And now we see Trump taking the battle to the demonic realm using natural means. And of course, the demonic is freaking out. That's why the news is all going crazy. And that's why even a lot of believers are arguing and stuff, because they don't understand what's going on in the spiritual realm. And they don't even care to ask the Lord what his opinion is or what he's doing in the situation. They just want to fuss because the enemy has, signed a contract that says you have fallen into deception in this area, and then you're going to live that out, and I'm going to keep you hooked into that. Just amazing things going on. One of the courses that I'm teaching in January is investigating personal prophecies. Well, why am I teaching that? Because as I've been growing and the Lord's been growing my spirit, He's been teaching me big differences between soul and spirit. All kinds of references to this stuff in the Word that we just read over all the time and we don't pay enough attention to. A lot of people teach you how to heal your soul and stuff like that, but we're not teaching how to not only heal our spirits, but to mature them. That's what God desires for us, is mature spirits. You don't have faith that moves mountains without a mature spirit. You don't have, you can't activate the dominion mandate without a mature spirit. It just doesn't work, because that's the way the Lord set it up. The spiritual realm responds to spiritual things. He says this in his word. If you sow to the flesh, you're going to reap with the flesh. If you sow to the spirit, you're going to reap with the spirit. Kingdom dominion is a spiritual thing. And until you are operating, with a great level of spiritual maturity, you don't have any kingdom dominion. And then so as the Lord's been teaching me all this stuff, and I'm looking around at, people and ministries and prophetic words and all that stuff, a lot of it, like it's soulish, it's fleshly. It's not actually things that the Lord is saying to people, which I get because I'm just now, allowing him to grow my spirit up myself, which is good because I've always been kind of hesitant about prophetic words and stuff like that, giving them, in the past. And now I am, before I start doing that on a large scale, I'm allowing him to mature me and teach me and, to fix my spirit, to grow my spirit, to teach my spirit to, to have dominion over my soul and things like that, which makes prophetic words pure. And then, so one of the reasons that I'm hosting this course is because like I'm always collecting prophetic words, going over them. I do it periodically a few times a year. Like I have them recorded. I have them, in documents and all this stuff, and have some of them written out that I've had, that I've received audibly. I've actually transcribed them so that I could have them written out and stuff like that. And then when I go back over and look at these things, I'm taking data, did this come to pass? What was going on in my life? Does this fit with the, what the Lord encoded in my spirit and stuff like that? And so many of these prophetic words you see, it's like about 50% are accurate words. And then the rest of them are just, people prophesying out of their soul, which you can't blame them. It's not a negative thing because it just depends on who they are and how mature they are. Some people have not learned how to mature the spirit yet. Some people don't want to go through that process of maturing the spirit because it's painful. I've been experiencing that. Like I said, this has been the most difficult year of my life, not because anything bad has happened, but because I'm actually allowing the Lord to mature me and to, change the way I'm looking at things, change the way I understand things and all of that stuff. And, it's totally different. Like his perspective and the way he views things are totally different. The way the spiritual realm operates, we don't even have a clue half the time. In this body of Christ, we have got to get ourselves together. That's why we are failing in so many areas. And that's why, we don't have sustained revivals or anything like that, because we just don't get it. We just really don't get it. And the interesting thing is, like, when the Lord first started explaining to me all this, I was depressed for like 3 days after he first started breaking this information down for me, because he was showing me, he was like, well, here's an example. Because I was asking him, when I'm starting this deliverance process, I'm like, why is this so difficult? Why is everything such a fight? Why is everything such a battle? And he told me a couple things. He was like, well, first of all, you're a forerunner. You're somebody who I've sent to bring deliverance to your family and to generations. So you're going to have to fight a little bit harder so that other people don't have to fight so hard. And I'm like, dude, I didn't ask for that, didn't ask for that. So, and then the next thing he showed me was, here's another thing. Okay, so if you look in Deuteronomy and you've got that chapter that has 2/3 curses and 1/3 blessing. And he was like, well, look, when you're born into this world, you're born into 2/3 curses and some of my blessings, right? You may not have all of those 2/3 curses on you, in your family line, but they exist in the world, because of man's fall, and you will have some of those blessings because they're generational blessings that have, come through your family line. If those blessings, some of those blessings of God didn't exist in your family line, you wouldn't be a believer right now. So some of those blessings you're born into, tons of curses you're born into. And I'm like, why would you do that to us? Why would you birth us into that? And he was like, I didn't. Remember, I created the perfect environment, and my expectation was that Adam and Eve would take that kingdom dominion out into the earth. That was the command that I gave them. That was the blessing that I gave them. Like, you spread relationship with God around to the earth, but we didn't do it, And then so he was showing me that this huge demonic network that entered the earth when they sinned, and how there's like 7 streams of this one demonic thing, and they like attach themselves to all these other demons and all these other problems that we come with, all stem from that basic 7, and just like all kind of stuff. But it shows you how to get free, so there's that one underlying demonic network that we're going to cover in my Breaking Generational Curse, and then the things that attach themselves to it. We're also going to go over our bloodlines, all of that stuff, and look over that and get healed and everything. But yeah, so it's been a really powerful year as far as learning. The Lord showed me my spiritual DNA, showed me what he created me to be, told me so many things about why I do certain little things the way I do them, and why I like certain things the way I like them is because of how he encoded those things into my spirit. And the interesting thing is, those little quirks that we have that the Lord gave us, he wired us specifically. They all have a purpose and a reason and has something to do with the kingdom. So here's an example. So I love to run outside. I actually have a gym membership right now that I've been paying for months, and I haven't stepped foot in the gym. Why? Because I am an outdoor runner. I don't like to work out inside. I feel trapped. I can't concentrate. I don't lose weight that way. I don't look good when I'm working out that way. It just doesn't work for me. I could be in there running on the treadmill for an hour 3 times a week, and it does absolutely nothing for my weight, for my mind, nothing. It just doesn't work. So one of the things that the Lord showed me when he was showing me my spiritual DNA is he was saying, well, one of the reasons that you love to run outside was because I created your feet to be able to feel vibrations from the ground and feel things that I've placed in the earth underneath the ground so that you can connect with them, identify them, and call those things up to be redeemed, right? So that's one of the giftings that he gave me, as a prophet, to go and to wake up the land, to call the land back to its original design, and to release things. That's why he sends me to different places. He sends me there just for a day. Why am I going there? To walk down the streets of that city and pray and release what the Lord has asked me to release, right? And I didn't have understanding of that until he started showing me my spiritual DNA and stuff like that. So even though this has been difficult, some of the revelations and things that he's shown me have been difficult, there's also been some things that help me understand who I am and how to advance the kingdom in greater ways than ever before. And, a lot of times people think, well, when God's telling you to do something, you don't necessarily need to know why. No, you don't necessarily need to know why if you're just, military obedient and you just go. But some of us ask questions and we want to know how things are going. And that's probably the teacher in me, because the teacher in me says, well, you tell students why they're doing something because they need that education to build on something else and also to support the things that they've already learned, etc. Right? So been a really, really fantastic learning season, painful, difficult learning and deliverance season, but it is going to reap fantastic and phenomenal rewards in 2018 and beyond. I know because God said that once he's begun the good work in us, he's faithful to complete it. So I'm in this deliverance thing for the long haul. I pray that your spirit is waking up and maturing, and that you are willing to allow it to step to the front, to take dominion over your soul so that you can have kingdom authority in the earth and do things that God actually desires you to do. Oh, and one other thing, I kind of got distracted because you know how I am, but I was saying that, people prophesying out of their souls and stuff like that, you can't really be upset about that just because, until you learn how to silence your soul and allow your spirit to be an authority, those types of prophecies are going to come out. But not only that, because of the way the spiritual realm operates, you could be wanting something, and that's what you are releasing by thought, word, deed, whatever, and the spiritual realm is just, putting that information around the person who's prophesying. So they're just hearing things that you're releasing and stuff like that. So it's not like, you have to be mad at them. They're giving you soulish prophecies and stuff like that. They're just picking up on what you desire and things like that. Desire is powerful. Focus is powerful. The world calls it the law of attraction. It's the same thing. It's recorded in the Bible. The Lord said himself, what a man thinks in his heart, so is he. That's the same thing as the law of attraction. Whatever it is you're putting out there, people who are prophesying from their souls are going to pick that up and then just be prophesying whatever it is that you desire, right? So until your spirit matures, or you know what, you don't even have to necessarily have a mature spirit. You could just collect data like I've been doing, because my spirit hasn't been that mature. I've just been collecting data on the prophetic words that I've received, and I do place a time frame on them, approximately 2 years, because if they're not consistent with other things that are going on, those things are expired and they're no good, because you're focused on things, you're paying attention to things. And, I am, like, when I get prophetic words, like, I'm focused on them, I spend time on them, I work them out. I'm trying to, do my portion of making sure those things come to pass in the right way. So I do put an expiration date on it. If that's just me, you don't have to do that. because if it actually fits in with what the Lord is doing in my life right now, it's not going to take forever, right? It just won't take forever. Okay? So that's just me. And I would love, 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 love to hear what you learned in 2017. All right. God bless you. I bless your spirit. I call your spirit to the front to take dominion and authority over your soul, to submit to the Holy Spirit of God, to receive of him, and to mature so that you can worship him in spirit and in truth. All right. God bless you. It's time to register for Supernatural U 5785, Saturday, October 19th, 2024, in Faith Valley, Tucson, Arizona. Come receive the word of the Lord for the year Pei Hei, the year of Ruach's breath. This year, 3 seers will teach you to live with Holy Spirit's voice behind you saying, "This is the way, walk in it." Register now at www.1123.life.